Greetings, beloved children. It's your group Souls Arena. We are so glad that you are all here, that we are here, tucked in. Your familiar faces, your journeys resound so deeply, right into the very core of our being. Every story you tell, every journey you take us on feels joyful and familiar, as though, yes, we have taken these walks before. We have taken the lantern walk before. We have put up the Christmas tree before. We have changed our thoughts before. We have done so many things that are like unto what we are doing in this lifetime. We have done them in other contexts, in other lifetimes, in other dimensions, in other modalities. And yet it is always so beautiful to hear the stories once again in this dimension, on this particular planet, at this time in the universe. What we are hopefully reminding you of is that while it is true that there is nothing new under your sun, that what is always new is the way in which we choose to observe things. It is our observance that is always new, that is always becoming new. It is our consciousness that is brand new. And so the pathways may feel very familiar, sometimes in a sad way, sometimes in a blissful way, sometimes in just a peaceful way. But it is the way in which we observe the pathways. That is what is changing. Always, always changing. And we bring forward our first beloved speaker to shed some more insight on this. We will step aside, and the master teacher Emmanuel and Lady Nada are both here. And so please bring your focus to these two loving beings who breathe and walk with this group that you are, that we are, and we step aside. And this is Lady Master Nada, and I am here with Master Teacher Emmanuel, but we are not going to speak first and foremost. No, there is somebody who is accustomed to, in her earth life at least, to walking around on four legs. And we are speaking of Emma, the star of the show, the sweet little dog who got her foot caught in a trap. She would like to speak about this and everything that she has learned since, and everything that she thinks her mother has learned since, and everything that she believes that this planet is about to learn. So we step aside and bring forth our dear friend, our cousin, our sweet sister, Emma. Well, good evening, ladies. I'm a little shy to do this because I haven't spoken this way in quite some time. Last time I was on the earth, I was in canine form. I was a dog, and the channel that I'm talking through right now, you sometimes call her Reverend Carolyn, which I find very odd. But at any rate, she found me and I found her. We found each other. She was driving around in a place called Annapolis, Maryland, and I was trying to get away from a pretty bad situation. I was lost, I was scared, and she saw me. She pulled over, she opened up the back seat of her car. I ran right in and started to cry right away. She thought I was crying because of sadness, but I was really crying from relief. I couldn't believe somebody was going to take me home. It had been a rough life. And while I lived with this one, I had a habit of crying quite a bit. My mother would often tell her friends, well, she's not really a happy girl. That wasn't entirely true. I was just an emotional girl. I had a lot going on and a lot to say. And as far as getting my foot caught in that trap is concerned, there's something that I've wanted to bring forward for quite some time because I think my mother had a very difficult time when she heard me screaming, as any mother would, to hear her child scream. And she was confused, as I know she's often said, because she heard me scream and heard the voice of her dear master teacher. She calls him Uncle, her Uncle Emmanuel. And her attention went in two places, one to me screaming, and the other to this voice of calm. When she came around to me and I was, beside myself, thrashing and scared. But I remember in that moment when my mother put her hands on the bars of that bear trap, that an electric current of energy went through. And she had told the story that the trap just kind of melted. It felt like butter. But she and I and Master Teacher Emmanuel, we all opened it. The three of us, we did that together. Master Teacher Emmanuel was able to show me in that moment that the trap was not harmful, that it was another aspect of the divine. He said to me in that moment, he said, Emma, remember when you found this mother of yours, you were running from a scary situation and you ran right into the back seat of her car and she took you home, took care of you. Remember that you were not trapped on that day and you're not trapped today. And that was my part in releasing that trap. It wasn't just my mother or Master Teacher Emmanuel with their incredible consciousness. It was me too. I was there too. And I've thought a lot about that. I thought about it when my mother helped me move from the third dimensional world, which was getting very hard, very painful, very uncomfortable, and embarrassing. And she helped me move over to the next plane. And I thought about how I had seen my whole life as a dog as a kind of trap, that I had chewed my way out of a bad situation. I remember the vet said that to my mother because my mom asked the vet, why does this dog have no teeth? What happened to the teeth? They're broken. And the vet said, oh, I've seen that before. She chewed her way out of a bad situation. That was true. I was trapped in a bad situation. I chewed my way out. And then I got my foot caught in that trap. And my whole life, I kind of felt trapped. But each time I had a sense of that's not quite true. I was able to get out of that first trap and I got out of that second trap. And then when I was released from the physical life and I came home to the source of my being, I realized I always had the key to the consciousness of freedom. I always had it in my own paw, if you will, in my own teeth, if you will. I always had it. I just was afraid to choose it because I thought, well, who am I? I'm just an unworthy dog, an abandoned dog that nobody wants. I'm not worthy enough to choose. I don't have that right to choose to see a trap in a different way. I was pretty convinced with a low self-value that it was actually my job to choose to stay trapped. My job. If I was going to be a good dog, an obedient dog, then I would stay trapped. You see? You see how very human I was? You see how my journey really parallels so many of yours. That's because I had been a human, of course. I bet you already got to that one. Uncle Emmanuel said, oh, yes, they figured that out. They figured out that you were more than canine, that obviously you'd had a lot of human lives, and that's true. I had. But it wasn't until really when Uncle Emmanuel assured me that it wasn't his consciousness or my mother Carolyn's consciousness, but it was my consciousness that opened that trap and freed me and healed my paw instantly. It wasn't until that moment when I had a new thought, a new awareness, that I began to see everything quite differently. It was my honor and my privilege to be a partner with my mother and help her to experience that shift in consciousness. It was my honor to partner my Uncle Emmanuel, you know. It's an honor to share in these lessons, isn't it? And it's a wonderful thing to know that we never do it alone. We never go off by ourselves and learn a lesson. We're always, always in partnership with other energies, and they often follow in that beautiful vibration of three, a trinity, if you will. Well, thank you. You know, it's something I had wanted to share for a long time. My experience, what I saw, what my quote unquote dog consciousness was experiencing. And Uncle Emmanuel's right. At first, it was just the physicality of the trap. But later on, it became so much more than that. And it continues. And I know that Lady Nada mentioned that I've been thinking about this. And I continue to think about it for you, for everybody here in this Zoom room, and all of your beautiful fur children, all of them, all of the children that have not yet been born to you, and all of their evolving consciousness and the evolving consciousness on this planet. Because you see, I happen to believe, as Lady Nada hinted at, didn't she, that the entire consciousness of this planet, not just you humans, you know, but all life, so all of life is learning that everything in reality is divine, or is God, or is love, or is light, however you choose to assignate the allness that pervades everything, the oneness, the great unity that is everything, however you choose to name that. There is this steady, grand awakening regarding the trap and being entrapped, and the beautiful shift of seeing that trap in a new light, that it also is love. It also is divine. It also is light. It is also good. There it is. Well, I'm going to go back to my Summerland now because I have a whole litter of what you call puppies that I'm getting ready to bring down to earth, if you're wondering, they are going to be herders. They are sheepdogs, the way I was, but they're going to be born in Australia. And I'm getting them ready to come to their mama, and getting them ready to learn to view every situation as an opportunity to boldly go where no sheepdog has ever gone before. Thank you so much for your beautiful and deep listening. And this is your group Souls Arena, and we are so grateful to Emma for coming forward. And we know that we're being asked very politely to step aside once again so that Lady Nada and Master Teacher Emmanuel both can come forward. And so we're going to step aside so that Master Teacher Emmanuel may speak. And this is Emmanuel. And oh, what a brave, darling being she is. Is it the tail that wagged the dog, I should say, or is it the dog that wags the tail? Isn't that an interesting concept? Because in her story, we have the feeling that it is the tale, the story, that is wagging Emma, that it is her returning to that story that is carving within her more and more revelations of what it means to be free. And at the same time, it is the dog that is wagging the tail. And so this is a way to say to you all, my dearly beloved sisters, that it is circumstances that wag you, but you are wagging circumstances also, are you not? Yes, indeed. When you remember that circumstances have no real power over you, except to provide us, I should say, to provide all of us with the opportunity to think of something anew, to think of something in a brand new way. And so in that way, circumstances do wag us. If we are all doggies and the circumstances are wagging us, at the same time, we are wagging, moving, shifting circumstance by how we choose to see it. And that was the kernel, the essence of my teaching, my visit with your channel, in which I was able to say to her, everything in reality is God, even the teeth in a trap. And so that moment comes to all of us, doesn't it? It came to the master teacher, Yeshua. It came to me. It came to Madame Sarah. It came to Lady Nada, to Kuan Yin, to White Eagle, to Red Eagle, to Chief White Buffalo, to Oshun, to so many others, to Buddha. It came this knowing that I have the opportunity right now to change the way I think about limitation, so that limitation is not setting the tone on me, but I am speaking into limitation, and I am releasing limitation from that tiny little box I put it in. I open it with my thoughts of remembering that in essence, there really is no limitation. In essence, there is only God, only light, only love, only consciousness, only divine understanding. However you choose to name the divine, it doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter, you know. Just don't let that name of the divine become a trap for you. Don't be victimized by it. But if you are, If you feel that that story of the divine is, well, wagging you, make sure that you shift purposefully forward in consciousness and turn and wag that name so that you always have ownership over the name that you give to the divine. That's so important. It's so important, especially now. This is the deeper meaning of cast your bread upon the waters, and it will return to you after a certain time. I know that there were some of you who were working on this scripture today in what you call practicum, which I thoroughly enjoy, by the way. I love that practicum. It tickles me to see you and observe you swim in the oneness, one with the other. I just love it. But I know that this one's joy guide had asked her to bring in that piece of scripture from Ecclesiastes or Kohelet. Cast your bread upon the water, and at a certain time, it will return to you. You will find it again. The deeper meaning of this is that whatever your understanding is, my darlings, well, that's the bread. Whatever your understanding is, that's the bread. And to let it go, to send it into the living water of the divine is always beneficial. Because when that returns to you, when that loving understanding returns to you, it returns magnified, quadrupled. It's like taking a seed of a sequoia and casting it into a river. And then at some point later, finding that you have a sequoia growing tall and strong within you, that you're a sequoia tree now. My goodness, look how tall you are. Because your understanding has changed, your loving understanding. In just a moment, I'm going to bring in an old dear friend of your channels, and he's going to talk a little bit about loving understanding. And then I'll come back, and then we'll bring back Lady Nada. So I don't think Serena minds. Does she mind? I'm going to step aside and bring in somebody else here. My name is Mark Hammer, and you may or may not know I was married to this one for quite some time. She is and was my beloved, and I taught her a word in Yiddish. It's Verstand. Loving understanding is what Verstand means. And my mother would use it when teaching us how to approach our food. The food that was put upon the table, she would say, eat it with Verstand. Eat it with loving understanding. A way of comprehending all of the work that went into the meal. Now, I should mention that we had an incredible cook that my mother hired, that my mother didn't do the cooking, but she hired this amazing cook. And oh my goodness, these meals were, they're absolutely just fantastic. I'm drooling as I think about it. And what my mother was encouraging us to do was not to eat it in one big gulp, because we could have, but to eat it bite by bite, to eat it with loving understanding, and let each morsel slide down and let each morsel go before we took the next bite. That's what eating with loving understanding is all about with Verstand. It's about making sure that you've thoroughly digested a bite and transmuted it within yourselves and then gone on to the next. Okay, I'm going to jump out. That was my little piece of hammer talk. And I want to thank you all for listening. And isn't your channel cute? I think she is. Okay. And this is Master Teacher Emmanuel. And we thank you, Mark, for bringing in that beautiful explanation of Verstand. And the application, as you may all have cottoned to, is the ability to, right in the moment, comprehend the circumstances of your life bite by bite. Take a bite there, chew, 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 swallow, 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 and then let it go. Cast that understanding upon the water. Let it go so that you are now ready to take your next bite, your next step in your journey of life. Letting go and casting it upon the water does not mean that you will not be served by everything that you have learned. It doesn't mean that you'll forget. But what it does mean is that you can count on a beautiful, hefty return of divine illumination. If you surrender your small knowing, the limited knowing, to the unlimited pasture, let it grow in that field. And then in just a few years or few days or few moments' time, you will stumble upon that sequoia and go, my goodness, did I plant that? Did I plant that by simply surrendering my limited cognition? Did I plant that? And I will say to you, you sure did. You did that by casting your limited cognition, your bread, your understanding upon that water, upon the water of peace. Let it be carried into the ocean. Let it be worked upon there. And then you come into greater and greater understanding. Okay, I just got the hook. My dear, sweet Lady Nada. She's so polite, but she did just say, Uncle Emmanuel, I think you've talked enough. I can take a hint. I'm moving aside so that my dear sister, Lady Nada, can speak. And this is Lady Nada. And of course, Master Teacher Emmanuel, we could listen to you for hours on end. We so appreciate your lovely wisdom and the way you have of talking to us with such humor and assurance. You truly are a wonderful Master Teacher. No, I just wanted to come in and pick up the apron here and just talk a little bit more about where I think we are together. I'm not going to say where you are, because believe me when I say we are truly in it with you. We are in the circumstance of the changing of earth pattern with you. And as my dear friends, my cousins, the dinosaurs, are reminding me right now, so is every animal that ever walked upon this planet. So are all the extinct ones, the ones we don't see in 3 dimension anymore, but are still very much with us in 4th dimension. We are truly in this all together. And all together, each as one and all together, we are working in beautiful harmony to change the shape of the trap into the shape of a rainbow, which I think somebody just brought in the image of a rainbow. One of you took a bow and an arrow. I saw you, and then you took your bow and you shifted that into a rainbow, and that's absolutely right. That's the way you are directing your thoughts now. If you imagine that the arrow is your thought and the rainbow is the bow upon which you place your arrow, you are now including all dimensions and all colors of the spectrum, all past lives, all memories, and all present circumstance and all future aspirations. You're bringing it all together and you're placing your arrow upon that particular bow, which looks like a rainbow, doesn't it? Because it includes everything. Nothing is excluded. And you are moving your thought, you're grasping that arrow and you're pulling it back, 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 back with beautiful marksmanship. I can feel it in all of you. And you know what you're about to do, each and every one of you, and not just you, but every member of the plant queendom and the mineral kingdom, and everyone that flies and everyone that swims. Each and every one of you are pulling that arrow, that thought back on your rainbow bow and getting to release it forward to cast that arrow, that understanding into the water of tranquility. I know you all just felt that. I felt it with you. The sense of your next casting forward, your next surrendering, your next ability to say, my limited understanding took me this far. I'm going to take everything I've ever learned up to this point and gather it into a thought, and I'm putting it onto a bow that is made out of every single color, every vibration there is in the universe, and I am pulling that back, pulling it back, and now releasing it forward into the ocean of tranquility. I know you feel it, beloveds, because I'm feeling it with you, and we're doing that with you. We are releasing that forward into the ocean of tranquility. And as we do so, we want to help you understand that many of you will experience doubts. You may be shaken to your core because times will open you to brand new understandings that you have not yet encountered. Meetings with friends from faraway planets, stars and other dimensions, and ripples of time underneath you. All of this may cause you to ask, am I still me? Is this still right? Is this still normal? And we'll be here to say with you, do not worry, do not doubt. No matter how things may shake, what is happening really is that you have sent your bow into the sea of tranquility, and it has landed there. And it is that sea, that ocean of tranquility, that is your master ascendance, our master ascendance. We're doing it together. My brother Emmanuel and I often we chuckle about the fact that sometimes we call you our teenagers, Sometimes we say, you know, our teenagers think we're so grown up. What would they do if they knew that we were learning just alongside them? It's so important for you to know. We are no more masterful than you are, beloved ones. It's just you are doing it in your time and your space, in your bodies and your personalities. All right. I'm grateful that I was invited in and allowed to bring in this loving meditation. I'm going to step back for a moment and I'm going to ask your soul guide, your soul group, your group consciousness, Zarina, to step forward. And this is your soul guide, your group, your consciousness, Zarina. And we are being impressed and led to lead all of us in a meditation of the singing rock. As some of you have learned, there are certain rocks on this planet that if you strike it with a mallet, you will hear a B flat. And if some of you have also learned, there is a sound that comes from a black hole, and it is a B flat. Out of the nothing, the deep, dark nothing, that very energy that sucks light and where nothing is supposed to be, out of that womb of nothing is coming this beautiful sound, a B flat. It is also the sound that many have theorized was the first sound of the bell of the beginning, the cracking open of the seed of this particular universe. It is a sound you all know. You have it in your being. Ah, you have that B flat in your being. And if you feel into that B flat now, know that you are able to sing it within you. Ah, you are able to hold that tone within you because you are remembering that as your mother note, the note that you are, the note that you graciously give birth from, the note that you use to cast your bread upon the water eons ago when you said, when we said as one collective voice in a beautiful B flat, let there be light. When we said that, we cast our bread upon the water. We let it go. We surrendered to see what would happen next. And each and every moment from then has been a thrilling adventure. And now feel into the universe itself that we have sung forth, the universe that we sang, that we called forth with that let there be, with the da, the B flat. Feeling into the universe that we all created and feel the shimmer in the universe, that ripple coming across the universe, the sense that the universe too is now breaking apart to reveal its next universe. And there is a casting of our understanding of what we've created with this universe. The universe itself is being cast upon that water and lands in that ocean of tranquility and deep repose, peace beyond our limited understanding at this point. But know that that is what we are doing. And that is what we, Zarina, are being impressed for all of us to know deep in our bones. We are creating yet again by casting, by letting go, by sending out our limited understanding and allowing ourselves to be cracked apart and bringing forth new ways of seeing and listening, hearing, and responding. All of this is happening now, as it has always been intended, as we intended it to be. And so Lady Nada and Yeshua and Kuan Yin and Master Cleon, Dr. Baker, and Sister Claire Rose and Bubbles, and Mirabelle, and Emma, and Mr. Yanni, and so many others, Red Cloud, are coming forward and encouraging us to see in our hands a loaf of bread that represents our understanding at this point, what we know right now. And all of us together, sending our bread, our limited understanding into the river that is life, that is evolution. That's the river. It's a river of evolution, and we are all now sending that. And in just a matter of a cycle, of a pulse, of a heartbeat, we will find it again. A brand new, unlimited understanding. A sequoia growing where we didn't know it could grow. For all of this and more, and for what we can't yet imagine, we are so grateful. As your group consciousness, we are now assuming control of the ending of this channeling by reminding all of you to bring your focus back into your physical templates, your fingers, your toes, the hairs on your head, remembering the contract that you made with the physical world, the material world. You agreed that you would shine here in these physical manifestations. And so just brush that contract up and say, yes, I am willing. Slowly, 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 bring yourself forward and know that you are so deeply, deeply loved. Namaste.